Donald Trump just admitted it all live on air, and that's not an exaggeration. He admitted that he has severe health issues, that his memory is gone, that he's breaking the law, that he's engaging in corruption, that he doesn't know what's going on around him. And right after that, he took to Truth Social to melt down because his 60 Minutes interview was a bigger disaster than anyone ever could have imagined. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into Donald Trump's insanely terrible 60 Minutes interview and the post he made on Air Force One about it, I want to start with the question he was asked on Air Force One about a former buddy of Jeffrey Epstein's.
Prince Andrew in the UK has had his royal titles stripped away because of the Epstein scandal. I know you're close to the royal family there. Do you have any thoughts on
I feel very badly. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's happened to the family. That's been a tragic situation. And it's too bad. I mean, I feel badly for the family.
Donald Trump has not once said that he feels bad for Epstein's victims, for the survivors of Epstein's abuse, of Ghislaine Maxwell's abuse, and of course, certainly Donald Trump's abuse. But he's now saying he feels bad for Prince Andrew, for his family. For what? Donald Trump will always sympathize with the criminal, sex pest, just disgusting scum of the earth individuals. It's why he's back in Cuomo, by the way. But this is who Donald Trump is. This is who he will always be. He will side with criminals and those who sell us all out, which is what he did with one of the worst pardons that has ever come out from this administration. It's what he was asked about on 60 Minutes that revealed his broken brain, the crimes he's committed, really all of it. But we need the context from Senator Chris Murphy on Trump's latest pardon.
So now it's just 100% clear. The White House is just one giant pay-to-play scheme. I don't know what Donald Trump is doing other than just inventing new ways to trade government favors, political favors, pardons for means to enrich himself. The latest is the pardon of a guy named Changpeng Zhao. He's the owner of a company called Binance. He went to jail. He pleaded guilty because his company was a platform for terrorists and child sex predators to move money. He violated money laundering laws, and he knew it. He pled guilty. He went to jail. This was a bad guy who owned a bad company that allowed people to do terrible, terrible things. Donald Trump just pardoned him. Just pardoned him. Why did he pardon him? Because this guy made a promise to Trump that he would help Trump get rich. What Binance did was make big investments in Donald Trump's cryptocurrency. And it helped Donald Trump's cryptocurrency increase in its value, helped Donald Trump and his family make a ton of money. And so on its face, it's just a pretty simple trade. This rich guy makes a huge investment in Donald Trump's crypto business, and in exchange, he gets a pardon for serious crimes, for crimes connected to money laundering by terrorists and child sex predators. You listen to Republicans out there talking about how they care about stopping child abuse or how they're trying to combat terrorism. They don't care. If they would speak up about one of the worst offenders, owned a company that allowed some of the worst people in the world to be able to move money, being pardoned by Donald Trump. Why? Just so that Donald Trump can make even more money. The White House is a 24/7 corrupt enterprise. It's 24/7 corrupt, and I refuse to not be outraged by that, and I hope you refuse as well.
So this is just unfathomably corrupt. Even for Donald Trump, it is really difficult to put into perspective how corrupt of an individual he is. But we can. He can get paid for a pardon. That's it. Sometimes it costs you $2 billion. Sometimes it costs you $5 million. Sometimes all it costs you is like a nice Fox News tour. Like that's what George Santos did, and he got a pardon. But Donald Trump is willing to sell the country out. And it's funny, even though it's not, considering much of Donald Trump's administration has been spent bemoaning pardons, especially those from Joe Biden, which Donald Trump says don't even count because they were signed with the auto pen. But Donald Trump just made it really difficult for him to make that argument because when he was asked on 60 Minutes about this pardon, he gave the worst answer he possibly could have. Trump was asked, "Why did you pardon Changpeng Zhao?" Trump, "Are you ready? I don't know who he is. His crypto exchange, Binance, to help facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial stablecoins. And then you pardoned him." Trump, "Here's the thing. I know nothing about it." Donald Trump is admitting live on air that he doesn't know about a pardon he signed. So it's either the auto pen, and to Donald Trump, that is a crime worse than anything you could possibly do, or he remembered it in the moment, and now Donald Trump doesn't remember. Just a few short days later, Donald Trump doesn't remember. His brain is so broken, his health is so bad. Did he have a stroke? That's what a lot of doctors are saying at this point. But Donald Trump is the most criminal, most corrupt president in American history. He is taking checks. He is taking cash from anyone who he can get it from, including, at this point, from foreign governments. Donald Trump is being bribed. And honestly, I know the last lawsuit, the last frivolous lawsuit, was over 60 Minutes deceptively editing an interview with Kamala Harris by trimming it for time. But I'm surprised Donald Trump hasn't already announced that he's suing 60 Minutes for not cutting that answer out, because holy shit, it doesn't get a lot worse than "I have no idea what you're talking about" as I run my criminal enterprise. And it's why Donald Trump was probably so mad at the start of this interview, and he posted this. Donald Trump wrote, "I hate watching the NFL's new kickoff rule. It's ridiculous. Takes the pageantry and glamour away from the game and does nothing for safety. They should change back to what it used to be. Hopefully, college football will never make this ridiculous change. In the meantime, I'm getting ready to watch President Donald J. Trump me on 60 Minutes. So Donald Trump, with a little bit of a distraction post there, ahead of really what was the worst interview I've ever seen from Trump. It was a whole lot of confusion. It was a whole lot of collapse. At this point, I don't even want to watch it. It's the reason, besides the fact that we can't play 60 Minutes clips on this show without them being hidden by YouTube, unfortunately, so I had to read that, but also I can kind of assume that y'all would rather me read off Trump's idiotic words than have to hear them yourself. But it was an utter collapse from Trump. It only continued to get worse and worse. He was asked about whether or not, or why not, he decided he wouldn't bring up Taiwan when speaking with Xi Jinping, and he said, well, it didn't come up. But Donald, of course it didn't come up. Why would Xi Jinping bring up Taiwan with you? Why would any Chinese dictator bring up Taiwan with you? It is your job to bring up Taiwan. You're saying that you're testing the nuclear arsenal again because you want to project strength and all these world leaders just see you for what you are. What do our friends at I've Had It say? A little titty bitch? That's what you are, Donald. Everyone recognizes how weak you are, how easily swayed you are. You can literally be bought for a pardon. It's pay to play. It's never been worse than this. It is corruption at the highest level, and it is blatant, and he is bragging about it by saying, I don't even know because I don't have to. I sign the pardons and I sign the checks. And someone just puts them in front of me. Donald Trump is clearly not in charge. I don't want to give Don Jr. the credit. I don't want to give Eric the credit. I don't want to give Ivanka the credit. Maybe Barron's running things. We know he can turn a computer on and off. Whoa. Ooh, Barron, tech whiz. Wow. Computer on, off. Ooh. If I can give him can you get a Nobel Prize for that? For on and off? But seriously, someone else has got to be running things. Because Trump is either using his auto pen, which he has great disdain for, or he's had a stroke and he just doesn't remember anything anymore because his brain is made of pudding. But all he knows is that what he wants to do right now is extract every single dollar out of the White House that he possibly can. And the best way to do that is his crypto scam. And someone who has been talking about this more than anybody else, and I've applauded him for it constantly, is Senator Chris Murphy, and he did right here.
The blatant exchange of U.S. national security secrets, our most sensitive drone technology, and our most sensitive chip technology in exchange for cash into Donald Trump's pocket is perhaps the most brazenly corrupt act in the history of the American presidency. And we cannot normalize it just because he is doing it out in the open in public. The Senate, which is given the responsibility by the Constitution to be a co-equal branch with the president, we have independent responsibility to uphold and protect the Constitution, to set American foreign policy. We cannot pretend this is not happening. We cannot look the other way while the entire moral foundation of our foreign policy is being shattered. Republicans can't ignore this just because the president is their party's leader. We have that independent obligation to protect the Constitution, which clearly says that these gifts are illegal, whether they're going to a Democratic president or a Republican president. We have a responsibility to our taxpayers to stop a president from immorally enriching himself using the power we give him to help himself instead of helping us.
I have a little homework assignment for y'all. I want you to finish watching this video, then I want you to look up the Genius Act. It was the biggest gift that the crypto industry could have ever asked for. And why? Because they quite literally asked for it. They bought it, paid for it, with more donations than any other corporate player, more donations than anyone else, overwhelmingly, in the last election cycle. They didn't just buy Republicans, though. They bought a lot of Democrats, spending tens of millions of dollars in Senate races and House races to make sure that they could get Democrats, corporate Democrats, to back this gift. And what did that legislation say? Well, it said a lot that made the crypto industry very happy. Again, they wrote it. But it said that, as we have called for so many times, for members of Congress to not be able to trade stocks, they couldn't trade crypto. Right? If they had been doing work as it relates to crypto. But do you know who it said could own crypto, make money off of it? The President of the United States. Notable exception for that. Not only is this bill disastrous, but it has allowed Donald Trump to carry out the greatest corruption we have ever seen in the history of this country. The Democrats who voted for it should be ashamed. I want you to look them up, and I want you to make them remember what they voted for. We have to fight Trump, but that includes not capitulating to the corporate interest, no matter how much money they spend on your race. I don't care if it's the crypto lobby. I don't care if it's the oil lobby. I don't care if it's the Israel lobby. We do not bend to them. We do what is right for us. Is that clear? As my grandfather used to say, capiche? Let's call them out. We're going to do that on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.